Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew and today we're doing it. We are doing the NECA Godzilla 2024 from the New Empire bootleg. Yeah, unfortunately, this is not a real figure, which I do need to put a little disclaimer that I know some people don't like bootlegs, and I need to stress that I do not support, the constant influx of bootlegs. But the reason I bought this and other bootlegs in the past before is because they appealed to me, and I basically can decide what I want to do with my own money. That being said, I have been supporting Toho for the last several years, and I had been supporting this movie. I went to see the movie twice in theaters, one in regular format, one on Screen X, which is more expensive. By the way, I purchased all of the GXK basic 6-inch figures, and I've been supporting Godzilla official merchandise since 2015. So, yeah. But with that out of the way, I want to go ahead and just say that yes, this is not an official figure. It is a bootleg across any sense of the word, and I got mine from AliExpress. I did not get mine with the box, but I did get mine still from Ali. There's like 1,000 different listings, all for different prices, so definitely pick the one that is cheapest for you. But with that being said, let's take a look at my copy. Starting off with the sculpt and paint. The sculpt and paint, let's just talk about the sculpt. The sculpt itself is borrowed from the NECA Godzilla, specifically V2 from 2019, and as a result, features actually quite a bit of good sculpt and paint or sculpted details. But the paint itself, let's just look at the face. The face features the standard 3 lines we see in the New Empire and a very pink-like tongue, but does not feature very prominent teeth. In fact, I thought that my copy actually had no teeth on the bottom jaw, and while it does look like that, you can actually kind of see inside there is a bit of pink for the gums, but it's the same paint that they use on the tongue. And there is also quite a bit more on the top of the mouth. However, the paint on the teeth is it's there, but it's so minute. It's honestly not even all that noticeable. I guarantee you probably didn't even notice it until I pointed it out. The eye paint is just a basic white dot, and it's like that on the other side either. And the gills are, at least on this one, I hate to say this, as far as not the application, but where it's supposed to be placed, or the design of the paint, it might be better than the original V2 Godzilla, which I said that. But we have some of the nice kind of black plastic that they use, obviously, for the details. Going on down to the chest region, this is where we kind of start kicking a little bit, because I will say the entire bottom side, it actually has a bit of dry brushing for some silver paint apps over the black plastic, and I have to say it looks phenomenal. Seriously, look at this paintwork. This is actually some really good dry brushing, and even on the chest here, there's a small little pink nick right there on the crotch, but it still looks really good with all the dry brushing, and kind of got the pink spray that almost looks like purple thanks to the fact it's mixed in with the black. But it still looks really rock solid. The arm, or so the hands, don't have any paint on the nails, but they aren't really sharp at all, which I was kind of expecting them to be razor sharp, because that's how bootlegs usually are, but there's surprisingly not much sharpage here. But you can kind of see a lot of the ridges and kind of the scaly details go down from the forearm to from here all the way down here, which again, courtesy of the original NECA sculpt, it looks great. And even the 6-pack, actually no, I think it's an 8 or 10-pack. Yikes, Godzilla's been working out some mighty titans. Looks great. Honestly, again, If this was a legit figure, who knows how good or even bad this overall may have actually looked. But as it is right here, it looks really well done. I gotta hand it to the bootleggers. And next, let's talk about the legs. Not much to talk about, but still has the same amount of like detail and all the dry brushing that the rest of the body has. And it honestly looks really great. Like, again, I know this side looks a bit more heavy handed than this side does, even though this one has like a little bit of a splotch, while this one's like caked in that stuff. It still looks really good. Like, again, even for a bootleg, this looks I can't believe I'm actually praising the bootleg, but it looks really good. Like, I literally cannot get around how well this looks, especially for like the amount of like detail. You can kind of see all the ridges going down, and even like at the feet, even though the toenails are a bit more blunt than compared to the original version, they still got the detail exactly down. And just to show you guys, the copyright info is still on there. As you can see, there you go, copyright and trademark Toho, NECA 2019, made in China. So, no, it's not an official one. Also, it has the signature peg holes, which I don't think will work. Actually, maybe they will work, because it's about the same size and shape as the original figure. But it still features, again, some great paint apps and sculpting. However, my praises slowly begin to dive when we take a look at the tail. Which, well, okay. Let me just go ahead and say that quality control wise, I had a bit of an issue with mine. It comes out the same way that the original figure did, which was at this segment right here onward that came loose. And you had to attach it in. And actually, looking around me really quick right here, it actually came with a string of instructions that are photocopied right from the original NECA Godzillas. But unfortunately, the socket was too small for the ball joint to fit in, so I remedied that by dipping it in hot water for a longer period of time and warped the plastic so it became a bit more flexible and a bit bigger to fit it in there. So that was the only time, I think, in my entire history where I've actually had a problem with something related to a NECA Godzilla. But back to the tail itself, it features the same sort of sculpt and detailing that you see on the original 2019s, obviously decked out in a much more paint application with some white dots over with some white application over top to kind of give it more of a shiny effect. And honestly, again, it looks good. And even the underside of the tail features that beautiful silver dry brushing, even down to the tip of the tail. But I will say, it kind of gets a little iffy once you actually like look at the segment. Like, you can obviously tell where it came out of the box, and there is a bit of a purple pink nick right there, but it still features, again, all the nice ridges and all that amazing detail that you see on the original. So it still looks the part. It's just a bit more bright. And to finally end off the sculpt and paint, we're going to look at the spines, which, again, are the standard KOTM fins. They're not the New Empire fins, which are a lot more thin and a lot more longer than the KOTM fins were. But with that being said, this looks like yogurt. This looks like yogurt. Like as if someone poured yogurt onto this and called it a day. But shockingly, there is actually some white dry brushing, kind of giving it like a much more like what's the term? I guess a more shiny effect, for lack of a better term. But it looks good. Like, this actually looks great. I will say it's a bit iffy, a bit much when it comes all the way down here. But then again, the other NECA Godzillas were like that, and here I am praising those ones, but not praising this one. But what am I really say? Obviously, you got like the standard fins. There's a bit more silver towards the back of the neck and the back of the head, but really the thing that is going to be really catching your eyes is definitely these beautiful dorsal plates. So overall, for sculpt and paint, it's not bad. Like, the sculpting is a bit iffy in some parts, but again, it borrows a figure that had one of the best sculpts from the King of the Monsters movie and actually features some great dry brushing and paint applications. Granted, the application isn't the best, especially when we have paint chippage a bit right here, kind of like right here, and some parts like right here. I'm totally missing that. But it's mostly confined to like one space, at least on my copy. And for what good is here, which I rather focus on, it's not bad. I really dig it. Um, but honestly, that's kind of it for Sculpt and Paint.